President Cyril Ramaphosa says the Phala Phala farm theft was not discussed when he met with his Namibian counterpart Hage Geingob at the Union buildings today. They focused on political, economic and security affairs. Newzroom Afrika's Ziyanda Ngcobo was in Pretoria.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has downplayed the fact that South Africa has not been invited to the G7 meeting in Japan next month. He says this shouldn't be viewed as a snub because now the entire continent will be represented.
With regard to the G7, Japan is the convener of the G7, and as you correctly say, we often are invited to G7 meetings, and it is really the host's decision on who to invite to G7 meetings, and it so happens that we often are the only country on the African continent that's invited. And this time they've invited the AU chair. And we as South Africa are very pleased because that gives recognition to our continent.
The unresolved matter of how BRICS will deal with the warrant of arrest issued by the International Criminal Court for Russian President Vladimir Putin was also raised.
We have noted what the ICC has said in relation to President Putin, and we ourselves are still discussing this matter. Your question was whether we have finalized our position or not. It is a matter that is still under consideration.
Geingob has called out the double standard of the ICC and the United States, which is not a signatory to the court.
Americans are members of that court. Why not? They said they have their own institutions. So Kofi Annan was very angry with me because it was said Africans asked for that court. And I said maybe they didn't have institutions that time. Now that they have it, I have it, why must I be forced to be there? So definitely, unless we have our own institutions, after independence, we must still go to colonial situations to be tried somewhere else. So South Africa has to decide whether they're going to not invite Putin. It's a very difficult situation. Why only in South Africa? Other time we were here, it was Al-Bazir. What is it?
Al-Bashir.
Yeah, same thing. So they are targeting you, huh?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are absolutely right.
The biggest elephant in the room, which is the Phala Phala scandal that has engulfed both presidents in their respective countries, was also addressed, albeit briefly.
The Phala Phala question, did that arise in your discussions? We had to ask the question, sorry.
No, it did not feature in our discussions.
Not at all, so you
Not
didn't
at all.
discuss it at all? Okay.
Not at all.
With South Africa being Namibia's biggest trading partner in the world, the two countries' departments of trade and industry are expected to host a business forum later this year, where the trade agreements which were signed on Thursday will be unpacked and expanded on further. For Newzroom Africa on Channel 405, I'm Ziyanda Ngcobo in Tshwane.